Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Children's and Household Tales is a collection of German fairy tales first published in 1812 by the Grimm brothers, Jacob and Wilhelm. The collection is commonly known in the Anglosphere as Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Composition.
The first volume of the first edition was published in 1812, containing 86 stories. The second volume of 70 stories followed in 1815. For the second edition, 2 volumes were issued in 1819 and a third in 1822, totaling 170 tales. The third edition appeared in 1837. Fourth edition, 1840. Fifth edition, 1843. Sixth edition, 1850. Seventh edition, 1857. Stories were added, and also subtracted, from one edition to the next, until the seventh held 211 tales. All editions were extensively illustrated, first by Philipp Groth-Johann and, after his death in 1892, by German illustrator Robert Leonweber. The first volumes were much criticized because, although they were called children's tales, they were not regarded as suitable for children, both for the scholarly information included and the subject matter. Many changes through the editions, such as turning the wicked mother of the first edition in Snow White and Hansel and Gretel, shown in original Grimm stories as Hansel and Gretel, to a stepmother, were probably made with an eye to such suitability. They removed sexual references, such as Rapunzel's innocently asking why her dress was getting tight around her belly, and thus naively revealing her pregnancy, and the prince's visits to her stepmother, but, in many respects, violence, particularly when punishing villains, was increased. In 1825 the brothers published their Kleine Ausgabe or small edition, a selection of 50 tales designed for child readers. This children's version went through 10 editions between 1825 and 1858.
Influence.
The influence of these books was widespread. W. H. Auden praised the collection, during World War II, as one of the founding works of Western culture. The tales themselves have been put to many uses. Hitler praised them as folkish tales showing children with sound racial instincts seeking racially pure marriage partners, and so strongly that the Allied forces warned against them. For instance, Cinderella with the heroine as racially pure, the stepmother is an alien, and the prince with an unspoiled instinct being able to distinguish. Writers who have written about the Holocaust have combined the tales with their memoirs, as Jane Yolen in her Briar Rose. The work of the brothers Grimm influenced other collectors, both inspiring them to collect tales and leading them to similarly believe, in a spirit of romantic nationalism, that the fairy tales of a country were particularly representative of it, to the neglect of cross-cultural influence. Among those influenced were the Russian Alexander Afanasyev, the Norwegians Peter Christen Asbjornsen and Jørgen Moe, the English Joseph Jacobs, and Jeremiah Curtin, an American who collected Irish tales. There was not always a pleased reaction to their collection. Joseph Jacobs was in part inspired by his complaint that English children did not read English fairy tales. In his own words, what Perrault began, the Grimms completed. 3 individual works of Wilhelm Grimm include Altdänische Heldenlieder, Balladen und Marchen, Old Danish heroic songs, ballads, and folktales in 1811, Über deutsche Runen, on German runes in 1821, and Die Deutsche Heldensage, the German heroic saga in 1829. On December 20, 2012 the search engine Google honored the 200th anniversary of the Grimm's fairy tales with an interactive doodle.
List of fairy tales.
The code KHM stands for Kinder und Märchen, the original title. All editions from 1812 until 1857 split the stories into 2 volumes.
Volume 1.
KHM 1, The Frog King, or Iron Heinrich, Der Froschkönig der Eisern Heinrich, KHM 2, Cat and Mouse in Partnership, Katz und Maus in Gesellschaft, KHM 3, Mary's Child, Marienkind, KHM 4, The Story of the Youth Who Went Forth to Learn What Fear Was, Märchen von einem, der Auszog das Furchten zu lernen, KHM 5, The Wolf and the Seven Young Kids, Der Wolf und die Sieben Jungen Gislein, KHM 6, Trusty John or Faithful John, Der Treue Johannes, KHM 7, The Good Bargain, Der Gut Handel, Sea Tale 7, KHM 8, The Wonderful Musician or The Strange Musician, Der Wunderliche Spielmann, KHM 9, The 12 Brothers, Die Wolfbrüder, KHM 10, The Pack of Ragamuffins, Das Lumpengesindel, KHM 11, Brother and Sister, Brüderchen und Schwesterchen, KHM 12, Rapunzel, KHM 13, The Three Little Men in the Wood, Die drei Männlein im Walde, KHM 14, The Three Spinners, Die drei Spinnerinnen, KHM 15, Hansel and Gretel, Hansel und Gretel, KHM 16, The Three Snake Leaves, Die drei Schlangenblätter, KHM 17, The White Snake, Die Waistschlange, KHM 18, The Straw, The Coal, and the Bean, Schum, Kuhl und Bohn, KHM 19, The Fisherman and His Wife, Von dem Fischer und seiner Frau, KHM 20, The Valiant Little Tailor, Das Tapfer Schneiderlein, KHM 21, Cinderella, Aschenputtel, KHM 22, The Riddle, Das Rätsel, KHM 23, The Mouse, The Bird, and the Sausage, Von dem Mission, Begelchen und der Bratwurst, KHM 24, Mother Huda, Frau Holl, KHM 25, The Seven Ravens, Die Sieben Raben, KHM 26, Little Redcap, Rotkäppchen, KHM 27, Town Musicians of Bremen, Die Bremer Stadtmusikanten, KHM 28, The Singing Bone, Der Singen, KHM 29, The Devil with the Three Golden Hairs, Der Teufel mit den drei goldenen Haaren, KHM 30, The Louse and the Flea, Lauschen und Flochten, KHM 31, The Girl Without Hands, Das Mädchen ohne Hand, KHM 32, Clever Hans, Der Giant Hans, KHM 33, The Three Languages, Die drei Sprachen, KHM 34, Clever Elsie, Die Klutsch Els, KHM 35, The Tailor in Heaven, Der Schneider im Himmel, KHM 36, The Wishing Table, The Gold Ass, and The Cudgel in the Sack, Tischchen Deck Ditch, Goldesel und Naplos dem Sack also known as Tischlein, Deck Ditch, KHM 37, Thumbling, Dormling, see also Tom Thumb, KHM 38, The Wedding of Mrs. Fox, Die Hochzeit der Frau Fuchsin, KHM 39, The Elves, Die Wichtelmorna. The Elves and the Shoemaker, Erstmarchen, second story, Zweitmarchen, third story, Drittmarchen. The Elves and the Shoemaker, Erstmarchen, second story, Zweitmarchen, third story, Drittmarchen. KHM 40, The Robber Bridegroom, Der Räuberbräutigam, KHM 41, Herr Korps, KHM 42, The Godfather, Der Herr Gevatter, KHM 43, Frau Trude, KHM 44, Godfather Death, Der Gevatter Todd, KHM 45, Thumbling's Travels, see also Tom Thumb, Dormeling's Wunderschaft, KHM 46, Fitcher's Bird, Fitcher's Vogel, KHM 47, The Juniper Tree, Von dem Machandelbaum, KHM 48, Old Sultan, Der Alte Sultan, KHM 49, The Six Swans, Dissection, KHM 50, Little Briar Rose, see also Sleeping Beauty, Dornröschen, KHM 51, Foundling Bird, Von der Vogel, KHM 52, King Thrushbeard, König Drosselbart, KHM 53, Little Snow White, Schneewittchen, KHM 54, The Knapsack, The Hat, and the Horn, Der Ranzen, Das Hütlein und das Hornlein, KHM 55, Rumpelstiltskin, Rumpelstiltschen, KHM 56, Sweetheart Roland, Der Liebst Roland, KHM 57, The Golden Bird, Der Goldene Vogel, KHM 58, The Dog and the Sparrow, Der Hund und der Sperling, KHM 59, Frederick and Catherine, Der Friede und das Katholischen, KHM 60, The Two Brothers, Die zwei Brüder, KHM 61, The Little Peasant, Das Bell, KHM 62, The Queen Bee, Die Bienenkönigin, KHM 63, The Three Feathers, die Drehfedron, KHM 64, Golden Goose, die Goldene Gans, KHM 65, All Kinds of Fur, Allelieror, KHM 66, The Hare's Bride, Haschenbraut, KHM 67, The 12 Huntsmen, dies Wolf Jagger, KHM 68, The Thief and His Master, De Gaude van Senmeester, KHM 69, Girand and Giringel, Girand und Giringel, KHM 70, The Three Sons of Fortune, Die Drei Glückskinder, KHM 71, How Six Men Got On in the World, Sechs kommen durch die ganze Welt, KHM 72, The Wolf and the Man, Der Wolf und der Mensch, KHM 73, The Wolf and the Fox, Der Wolf und der Fuchs, KHM 74, Gossip Wolf and the Fox, Der Fuchs und die Frau Jeviterin, KHM 75, The Fox and the Cat, Der Fuchs und die Katz, KHM 76, The Pink, Die Nick, KHM 77, Clever Gretel, Die Kludge Gretel, KHM 78, The Old Man and His Grandson, Der Alte Großvater und der Enkel, KHM 79, The Water Nixie, Die Wassernix, KHM 80, The Death of the Little Hen, Von dem Tod des Hühnchens, KHM 81, Brother Lustig, Bruder Lustig, KHM 82, Gambling Hansel, Der Spielhansel, KHM 83, Hans in Luck, Hans im Glück, KHM 84, Hans Married, Hans Errettet, KHM 85, The Gold Children, Die Goldkinder, KHM 86, The Fox and the Geese, Der Fuchs und die Gans.
Volume 2.
KHM 87, The Poor Man and the Rich Man, Der Arm und der Reich, KHM 88, The Singing, Springing Lark, Das Entspringende Lewenigkeit, KHM 89, The Goose Girl, Die Ganze Magd, KHM 90, The Young Giant, Der Junge Rise, KHM 91, The Gnome, Das Mannequin, KHM 92, The King of the Gold Mountain, Der König vom Goldenen Berg, KHM 93, The Raven, Die Raben, KHM 94, The Peasant's Wise Daughter, Die Kludge Bauerntochter, KHM 95, Old Hildebrand, Der Alte Hildebrand, KHM 96, The Three Little Birds, Der Drei Vogelkens, KHM 97, The Water of Life, Das Wasser des Lebens, KHM 98, Dr. Know-all, Dr. Allwissend, KHM 99, The Spirit in the Bottle, Der Geist im Glas, KHM 100, The Devil's City Brother, Des Teufels Russiger Bruder, KHM 101, Bearskin, Baron Hutter, KHM 102, The Willow Wren and the Bear, Der Zornkönig und der Bar, KHM 103, Sweet Porridge, Der Susbrei, KHM 104, Wise Folks, Die Kludgen Lute, KHM 105, Tales of the Paddock, Marchen von der Unk, KHM 106, The Poor Miller's Boy and the Cat, Der Amelisbursch und das Katzchen, KHM 107, The Two Travellers, Die beiden Wanderer, KHM 108, Hans my Hedgehog, Hans Meinigel, KHM 109, The Shroud, Das Totenhemdchen, KHM 110, The Jew Among Thorns, Der Jude im Dorn, KHM 111, The Skillful Huntsman, Der Gellrant Jagger, KHM 112, The Flail from Heaven, Der Drieskfliegel vom Himmel, KHM 113, The Two Kings' Children, Die beiden Königskinder, KHM 114, The Clever Little Tailor, Vom Kludgen Schneiderlein, KHM 115, The Bright Sun Brings It to Light, Die Clare Sonne Bringt's den Tag, KHM 116, The Blue Light, Das Blaue Licht, KHM 117, The Willful Child, Das Eigensinnige Kind, KHM 118, The Three Army Surgeons, Die Drei Felderer, KHM 119, The Seven Swabians, Die Sieben Schwaben, KHM 120, The Three Apprentices, Die Drei Handwerksburschen, KHM 121, The King's Son Who Feared Nothing, Der Königson, Der Sieg vor Nichts Fürchtet, KHM 122, Donkey Cabbages, der Kratersel, KHM 123, The Old Woman in the Wood, Die Alte im Wald, KHM 124, The Three Brothers, Die Drei Brüder, KHM 125, The Devil and His Grandmother, Der Teufel und seine Großmutter, KHM 126, Ferdinand the Faithful and Ferdinand the Unfaithful, Verein und Getru und Verein und Unnetru, KHM 127, The Iron Stove, Der Eisenofen, KHM 128, The Lazy Spinner, Die Fall Spinnerin, KHM 129, The Four Skillful Brothers, Die Wirkungsstreichen Brüder, KHM 130, One Eye, Two Eyes, and Three Eyes, Ein Auglin, Zwei Auglin und Drei Auglin, KHM 131, Fair Katrinelje and Piff Paff Poultry, Die Schön Katrinelje und Piff Paff Poultry, KHM 132, The Fox and the Horse, Der Fuchs und das Pferd, KHM 133, The Shoes That Were Danced to Pieces, Die Satanstensue, KHM 134, The Six Servants, Die Sexdiener, KHM 135, The White and the Black Bride, Die Weiss und die Schwarzbrot, KHM 136, Iron John, Ihr Senens, KHM 137, The Three Black Princesses, Der Drei Schwarzen Prinzessinnen, KHM 138, Neust and His Three Sons, Neust und sein Drei Sohn, KHM 139, The Maid of Brakel, Dat Mädchen von Brakel, KHM 140, My Household, Das Hogesind, KHM 141, The Lambkin and the Little Fish, Das Lämmchen und das Fischchen, KHM 142, Semele Mountain, Semeleberg, KHM 143, Going a-Travelling, Upraise and Gone, appeared in the 1819 edition. KHM 143 in the 1812/1815 edition was Die Kinder in Hungersnot, The Starving Children. KHM 143 in the 1812/1815 edition was Die Kinder in Hungersnot, The Starving Children. KHM 144, The Donkey, Das Eselein, KHM 145, The Ungrateful Son, Der undankbare Sohn, KHM 146, The Turnip, Die Rube, KHM 147, The Old Man Made Young Again, Das junge Gluchtmannlein, KHM 148, The Lord's Animals and the Devils, Der Herrn und der Teufelsgetier, KHM 149, The Beam, Der Hahnenbalken, KHM 150, The Old Beggar Woman, Die Alte Bettelfrau, KHM 151, The 12 Idle Servants, Dies Wolf-Vollnecht, KHM 151, The Three Sluggards, Die Drei Volm, KHM 152, The Shepherd Boy, Das Hirtenbublin, KHM 153, The Star Money, Die Stintler, KHM 154, The Stolen Farthings, Der Gestohlen Heller, KHM 155, Looking for a Bride, Die Brautschau, KHM 156, The Herds, Die Schlickling, KHM 157, The Sparrow and His Four Children, Der Sperling und seine Vier Kinder, KHM 158, The Story of Schlaraffenland, Das Märchen vom Schlaraffenland, KHM 159, The Dietmarsch Tale of Lies, Das Dietmarsche Lügenmärchen, KHM 160, A Riddling Tale, Ratzelmärchen, KHM 161, Snow White and Rose Red, Schneeweißchen und Rosenrot, KHM 162, The Wise Servant, Der Klugknecht, KHM 163, The Glass Coffin, Der Glasernensarg, KHM 164, Lazy Henry, Der Vollheinz, KHM 165, The Griffin, Der Vogelgrief, KHM 166, Strong Hans, Der Starkhans, KHM 167, The Peasant in Heaven, Das Berle im Himmel, KHM 168, Lean Lisa, Die Hagerlis, KHM 169, The Hut in the Forest, Das Waldhaus, KHM 170, Sharing Joy and Sorrow, Lieb und Leidteilen, KHM 171, The Willow Wren, Der Zornkönig, KHM 172, The Soul, Die Scholle, KHM 173, The Bittern and the Hooper, Rochdommel und Widupf, KHM 174, The Owl, Die Yule, KHM 175, The Moon, Der Mond, KHM 176, The Duration of Life, Die Lebenszeit, KHM 177, Death's Messengers, Die Botten des Tods, KHM 178, Master Pfreim, Meister Pfreim, KHM 179, The Goose Girl at the Well, Die ganze Hirten am Brunnen, KHM 180, Eve's Various Children, Die ungleichen Kinder Evas, KHM 181, The Nixie of the Millpond, Die Nix im Teich, KHM 182, The Little Folks' Presents, Die Geschenk des kleinen Volks, KHM 183, The Giant and the Tailor, Der Reis und der Schneider, KHM 184, The Nail, Der Nagel, KHM 185, The Poor Boy in the Grave, Der Armjung im Grab, KHM 186, The True Bride, Die Warbraut, KHM 187, The Hare and the Hedgehog, Der Hase und der Igel, KHM 188, Spindle, Shuttle, and Needle, Spindle, Weberstiftchen und Nadel, KHM 189, The Peasant and the Devil, Der Bauer und der Teufel, KHM 190, The Crumbs on the Table, Die Brossamen auf dem Tisch, KHM 191, The Sea Hare, Das Meerraschen, KHM 192, The Master Thief, Der Meisterdieb, KHM 193, The Drummer, Der Trommler, KHM 194, The Ear of Corn, Die Kornor, KHM 195, The Grave Mound, Der Grabhügel, KHM 196, Old Ringkrank, KHM 197, The Crystal Ball, Die Kristallkugel, KHM 198, Maid Maleen, Jungfrau Maleen, KHM 199, The Boots of Buffalo Leather, Der Stiefel von Buffleder, KHM 200, The Golden Key, Der Golden Schlüssel. The Children's Legends, Kinderlegend, first appeared in the G. Raymer 1819 edition at the end of Volume 2. KHM 201, St. Joseph in the Forest, Der Heilige Joseph im Walde, KHM 202, The 12 Apostles, Dies Wolfepostel, KHM 203, The Rose, Die Rose, KHM 204, Poverty and Humility Led to Heaven, Armut und Fahren zum Himmel, KHM 205, God's Food, God's Spies, KHM 206, The Three Green Twigs, Die Drei Grenensiege, KHM 207, The Blessed Virgin's Little Glass, Mutter Gottes Glaschen, or Our Lady's Little Glass, KHM 208, The Little Old Lady, Das Alte Mutterchen, or The Aged Mother, KHM 209, The Heavenly Marriage, Die Himmlische Hochzeit, or The Heavenly Wedding, KHM 210, The Hazel Branch, Die Hazelroot, KHM 211, In a Glass Grimly.
No longer included in last edition.
Das Knie has not fallen, Blaubart, Bluebeard, Die Drei Schwestern, The Three Sisters, Die Prinzessin auf der Erbs, Princess and the Pea, Der Fall und der Flizage, The Sluggard and the Diligent, Der Gestierfeldkater, Puss in Boots, Der Gutlappen, Fragment, The Good Rag, Die Hand mit dem Messer, The Hand with the Knife, Hans Dumm, Die Heilige Frau Kummernis, The Holy Woman Kummernis, Herr Berlibutz, Die Kronen, The Crows, Der Loh und der Frosch, The Lion and the Frog, Das Mordschloss, The Murder Castle, Der Okelo, The Okelo, Prinzessin Maushort, Princess Mouseskin, Der Robber und seine Sehen, The Robber and His Sons, Schneeblume, Snowflowers, Der Soldat und der Schreiner, The Soldier and the Carpenter, Der Tod und der Gansherd, Death and the Gooseherder, Die Trientier, The Faithful Animals, Das Unglück, The Accident, Vom Prinz Johannes, Fragment, of Prince Johannes, Vom Schreiner und Gisela, From the Maker and Turner, Von der Nachtigall und der Blindleich, The Nightingale and the Slow Worm, Von der Serviette, Dem Tornister, dem Kanonen Hutlen und dem Horn, of the napkin, the knapsack, the cannon guarding flax, and the horn, wie Kinder schlichtens miteinander gespielt haben, how children played slaughter with each other, der wild man, the wild man, die wunderliche Gasterei, the strange inn, Rumpel